Now, I don't think the version of Venom depicted in the story Marvel Spider-Man 2 is bad or a major disservice to the character, but I do think Insomniac slightly missed the mark on what makes the character so special and how he's supposed to affect the livelihood of Peter Parker. To start off though, the design and voice for Venom is just unmatched, probably one of the best designs of Venom to ever be put on screen across all types of media. Very much in tune with voice and character design, but the characterization of the Venom symbiote and how it was handled is where some of my small gripes kinda lie. I don't really have too big of an issue with Eddie Brock not being the host, given the context of this game's story and continuity, simply due to the fact that there was no mention of him in the previous two games, so trying to introduce a new character into the mix with an already overcrowded story would just make things kinda messy. Harry Osborn being the host was pretty much inevitable since the post-credit scenes of the first two games. After beating the main game, there were some questions I had in terms of how the symbiote corrupts its host and why it had such a more impactful effect on Peter than Harry, for instance. If the symbiote had that level of effect on Peter after such a short time, it kinda begs the question on why it didn't drive Harry mad when he was bonded with the symbiote for a much longer time, as it only affected Harry after regaining the symbiote from Peter. I guess you could say that since the symbiote chose Peter, the ramifications on mood and mindset had a greater toll on Peter, but that's just a guess. I feel like the time span in which we got to play as symbiote Peter was very sweet but short-lived. A spectacular Spider-Man approach would have fit really well from a gameplay and story perspective, with the slow buildup of the symbiote taking over Peter's mind with the physical appearance of the symbiote changing alongside Peter's attitude. We got hints of this in the game, however, when symbiote Peter comes into contact with the meteorite, but there should have been more of a build-up to it in my opinion, with more missions of us, the player, playing as symbiote Peter. Going back to the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series, one of the greatest things about that symbiote arc was just how Peter overcame the symbiote's control with being reminded by Uncle Ben with how much he's surrounded by the ones he loves. I'm fine with Miles helping Peter get the symbiote off of him with a cool boss fight, but I wish there was more of a personal touch, I guess, in how Peter removed the symbiote, maybe like a cool visual gameplay sequence like we got when Miles and Martin Lee entered Peter's head. Now, when Harry first got the symbiote back, man, did that get me hyped. Genuinely did not expect Insomniac to actually have the player play as Venom and have a Kraven boss fight on top of that. I mean, I just gotta give props for that. However, my biggest problem with the Venom symbiote in this game is that it's just inherently evil, like the I want to take over the world type of evil, which is kind of an oversimplification and a disservice to the Venom character. Now, obviously adaptations from the comics aren't copy and paste when it comes to the source material, but what made Venom so special in the comics was his morally complex nature and layered character that really helped distinguish that this isn't the typical villain of the weak style antagonist. The symbiote reflects the emotions and feelings of its hosts, so when Eddie Brock came into contact with the symbiote while he was suicidal over the ruination of his career, along with having growing hatred of Peter and the symbiote hating Peter as well, since Peter rejected the symbiote, it was able to have a really strong bond with Eddie Brock, thus creating the Venom we know today. So when you take all that in mind, it's just a bit jarring to see the symbiote in this adaptation be a sort of evil blob that just wants to take over the world, and Harry becoming the Venom persona isn't really based on his or the symbiote's hatred for Peter, as later in the story Venom wants Peter to join him in his crusade in turning everyone on planet Earth into symbiotes.
We can give that gift to everyone. But we need you with us, Peter. Heal the world together.
Also, on a random note, where are the Avengers or the rest of the Marvel hero catalog? Like, we know they exist in this universe, and in most adaptations, other heroes kind of just sit on the sidelines like it's an NBA game and let the main players of whatever story handle things, but like, damn. Turning innocent civilians into giant monsters and almost destroying New York kinda seems like an Avengers level threat, but I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. The thing these writers need to understand is that the Venom suit has a personality and character, and not just an evil blob that turns people into emos. He just specifically hates Spider-Man and Spider-Man alone. He does not want to take over the world or rob stuff. He just wants Spider-Man dead because, you know, Spider-Man messed his life up pretty hard early on in the comics.
For the last time, Parker, our pronouns are they, them. Not because we are non-binary, but because we are literally two niggas.
Now, I'm aware that a lot of the stuff towards the latter half of the game with the symbiote invasion and ties to Null and the meteorite is based off some of the newer stuff with Venom in the comics, but me personally, a part of me would have preferred a more grounded story with Harry slowly resenting Peter and denying the suit, and with how he acted towards him and MJ. I do get though that they probably just wanted to do something different and more unpredictable due to how many times the Venom origin has been adapted. I just feel like we could have gotten more of the symbiote throughout the game, because Venom is really only in the main game for so long before Anti-Venom Peter removes the symbiote from Harry and it just vanishes from thin air. Like, the total screen time of Venom is just kind of short in comparison to how much of Venom we thought we were getting from the marketing and how much Insomniac talked about the character.
Ugly because there was not enough of Venom. I know they wanted to talk about 19 inches of Venom. Nobody told me there would also be 19 minutes of Venom, because that's what it felt like.
His runtime was just criminally short. He shows up, kills Kraven, turns people into symbiotes, turns MJ into Scream, obtains the meteorite, one more final boss fight, then boom, the end. But hey, that's just my take on the adaptation of Venom. Not an awful adaptation, just expected a little more out of it, I've heard about the idea of a Venom spin-off game, but how would that work exactly? Didn't the symbiote, like, get destroyed by the anti-venom abilities? But hey, who knows, they probably would just find a way to bring it back with the hive mind or whatever. I mean, hey, a whole game where we got to experience 19 inches of Venom in our grasp is insane.